I'll make it short and sweet. I'm Colin Cunningham, and I play John Pope on Falling Skies.
I'm Seychelle Gabriel. I play Lourdes.
I'm Connor Jessup, and I play Ben Mason.
I'm Drew Roy, I play Hal Mason.
And what's been the most fun part of being part of the Falling Skies world so far for you guys?
Not having to hide from my landlord. That's always a nice thing.
For now.
I don't know, Drew, you take it.
Well, this is the first time I've ever been on this big on a show,
Yeah.
like being a part of something this big. So just the whole ride of, it's been 5, almost 6 years now, from start to finish.
Yeah,
Well, I
we
guess not finished, but
We shot the pilot in
Yeah,
2009.
holy crap.
because we shot the pilot, and then a whole year went by before we went into production, and then it was a significant amount of time before it aired as well. So we'd been working for about 2 years before it even came on.
Yeah, I don't even think Max had been born yet. Max was still in the conceiving stage in the pilot.
Yeah, so to be exactly what Drew said, to be part of something that, it's rare enough for a pilot to get picked up, let alone for a show to go past its first season, second season, third season. So to be on something that's relatively long running with consistent cast and relatively consistent crew, it's like, I don't know, it's like college or something. It's like going off to the same place every year and with the same group of
In
people.
fact, it's so rare. I've told the story before, but I borrowed this season 1. I borrowed it because I figured there'd never be a season 2, and I thought, well, might as well take a little something for myself, since I'm never coming back. So this is Pope's original necklace from season 1, and it's been on my neck for 4 or 5 years. I just, for whatever reason, it hasn't broken, and I just keep using it. So I don't have to put it on when I go to work, because I just go home with it, and I go back with it, because that's what I've been doing. But you don't have any idea if these things are going to last. So I ended up borrowing this.
Why don't you
Thank
rock
you,
the
TNT.
skitter
Thank you,
fingers?
Michael Wright.
Has anyone
Good
else
luck.
borrowed anything from the show?
Other cast members.
The thing is that the thing about our show is that all our clothing and props look, in a normal context, completely disgusting. So if we were to,
That's kind of in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all fit. It's like
like
this
homeless chic.
chic homeless. Yeah,
Yeah.
derelict.
So what has been the success of the show, do you think, that's made it run for so many seasons so far?
Seychelle Gabrielle.
Yeah, Seychelle.
Without a question.
Oh, I thought you were giving me
No, just that's the answer.
giving
That's it.
me all of the glory, which it's true. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think a big part of it is we're blessed with a really tight cast that we all really dig and respect each other, and it's been like that since the beginning, and it's only grown in great ways. And I think that's a testament to how much passion we have for it and other people have for it.
We've also had an interesting situation where our writers have changed almost completely 3 times now,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
could have been a huge deficit for us,
Right.
and things could have gone and gotten really scrambled up. But by changing basically every season, really, I guess the first and second were
Just kind of built upon the last kind of thing.
Yeah, they've all worked off of each other and therefore kept it very unpredictable.
We were each other's support through that, though.
Yeah.
We were the constant.
exactly.
And it's also it's the fun thing, but it also can be a little bit scary too.
Yeah.
But at first it was very fun because it's not your typical episodic show. So every week, the PAs and the grips and the sound guys reading the scripts, because not to see what they're going to do, but like what's going to happen next. And then where the scary part comes in, all of a sudden you realize, oh God, did I die? Oh no, I come back, thank God, or whatever. So you start freaking out a little bit, and the rumor mill starts going around. You start having fun, poking fun at all the characters. Like, Connie, you died this week. What? I died? When did you get? Nah. But it's nice to be a part of a show where it is unpredictable, and it's neat to see what's coming next, as opposed to it's just another crime with a different face, saying the same dialogue every week, where there really is an arc. It's going somewhere, and we don't know where it's going, so it's nice.
It seems like a fun set to be on. What kind of pranks do you guys play on each other? What kind of fun stuff
Oh
do you
yeah,
guys
we're
do
out
on
there in the
set?
freezing cold. It's 30 below zero. We're on our 18th hour. It's nothing but fun and games.
Yeah. Pranks.
We don't really have a lot
I don't
of pranks.
think we-
I was trying to think of like
Really not a
actually
whole lot of
active
time.
pranks.
I mean, we're shooting so fast all day
Yeah.
long that
I'm trying to think.
I'm sure we've done
There's a
something.
lot of pranks, or there's a lot of like skits that Moon and I have staged that just haven't been realized. Like I remember we had that med bus, and she'd always be at the front of it. She'd like reenact Forrest Gump. She'd be like, "This is my seat. Like, where are you sitting?" And just like stupid stuff.
So you're not appreciated for your pranks on the show.
But, well, yeah, exactly. They don't give us the time of day. Yeah.
Usually we shoot a lot of nights on our show, and by Friday night at about 6 a.m. things tend to get pretty giddy, to say it like it gets trippy when it gets late.
If anything, it's we got to make sure we don't kill anybody, because there's knives and weapons and guns and explosives, and so if anything, it's not things are loose, but you never let anything get too loose. Not on a Falling Skies show, because seriously, we've got horses and there's motorcycles and there's people getting cranked, 1,200 pounds of pressure, and they're going to go 30 feet in the air. So it's not like, I'm going to flick his ears before he takes off.
We do have funny stories, though. There was a story. What was it, Peter? Like first season with the boat.
It was second season.
Second season.
Well, we were.
That was a good one.
Where they were in a boat and he said that he could paddle it, but he couldn't. He's
Well,
gonna hate
there's a scene in the second season where a few of us, I think it's Drew and Sarah and Peter and I, go on mission. I think it's near the beginning of the second season.
Yeah, the second or third episode.
We go on this.
Talking about Peter Shimko.
Yeah.
Peter
That's-
Shimko, who plays
that's
Di. And we go on this little mission, and we're supposed to spec ops kind of paddle in on a Zodiac. And Drew has just had sailing lessons or something the previous year, so he thinks he knows what's going on.
I did know what was going on.
And he and Peter are both paddling, and Sarah and I are just sitting there.
Yeah,
And they can't paddle at the same time. Like, no matter what they do, they can't get the same speed going. So we're out there in this river with 80 people on the beach looking at us, going around in
like
slow
this.
circles
The
for a
actors,
solid 45
a couple of
minutes.
professional actors out there making it work.
That's a funny one.
I
Yeah.
love it. Guys, what do you enjoy most about playing your character on the show? And if you could swap with anyone else's character, who would you swap with and why?
That's a cool question.
I swap with Doug Jones, who plays Cochise.
But only for a day.
I don't know, man.
I don't know
It'd
about
be a
that.
fun exercise.
Costume.
A guy, once he gets in his wardrobe, does not get out of it all day. Doesn't
That's
take bathroom breaks. So he actually has to pay attention to how much he eats, how much
And
he
you
drinks.
trade that? You trade
I
for
think
Doug?
it'd be interesting.
Just
I
for a
think
day.
it's bonkers. That'd be
I think it'd be wild.
I would not
do that.
trade John Pope for all the Harleys in China. Wouldn't do it.
I think I'd
It's
trade
just
with him.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, for the skidder fingers and the ability to just yell nonsense and be like, awesome. My favorite part of Lourdes, though, since no one's chiming in, is I like her faith.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
cool.
it's made me a lot more open-minded about people who are faithful about whatever they are faithful about, whether it be Catholicism or a different religion or whatever. It just looking into it has made me much more open-minded, and I'm very grateful for that.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
This dark secular world
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
wandered through.
Ben has, as far as the regular cast go, he has some weird stuff happening with him from the very beginning, which has always been an interesting angle to play, and always comes up in various interesting incarnations. So that's always curious. For some reason, I always end up involved in the crazy plots. So it keeps you on your toes. It's always fun.
Are there any other questions at all? Because we've got, if you guys are okay with it, we've got sci-fi. We'd like to just do sort of a pop in and do a, sort of, I say 1-to-1, so possibly 1-to-4, or whatever you call it.
Whatever.
Can you just one very quick
Absolutely,
question?
yeah,
Thank
go
you
for
very
it.
much. And guys, what would you like to see your characters going in future? What would you like to see happen for each of them in future shows?
Not dying.
The short pat answers are not dying. We'd like to see him go into season 5, but for me, it really has. It's always, there's something about the show that's a surprise because we don't know. So far the writers have kept me guessing, and when sometimes you think awesome, sometimes you think what, but either way it's exciting, and it keeps you on your toes. So man, just it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm happy to go for whatever ride that Sky takes me on.
I want Lourdes to be happy. I think she's gone through a ton of shite, and I think that she deserves some quality good times, whatever that is. If
I'm
you're
sure.
a guy,
I'm sure there
I'm
are
fine with that.
a lot of those coming.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
We've got a pretty interesting little new dynamic coming up this
Yeah.
upcoming season. So, playing that through the fourth season was fun, challenging at times, just because I guess you can get very comfortable in what your character is, and you sort of see the trajectory of where you're going. And then when they drop something like what they have coming for the two of us,
And obviously they
really-
can't talk about it. You know,
It,
it's tough.
I think it is in the you know what we're talking about. So when you have something like that happen, it's fun because it redefines what that relationship is. So I'm pretty excited to see where that would go into the fifth season, because obviously we know what's going on in the fourth.
I guess what fans really want to hear about is, obviously, people all around the world have fallen in love with the show. They're really captivated by it. But for each of you, it'd be really interesting to hear what you particularly find so exciting about the show, and I guess specifically your character. Starting with you, the
Start with me?
handsome man there.
No, in all honesty, I mean, I've often say, hey, what's your favorite, role to play? And I always say the next one, But no, John Pope, hands down, is one of the best roles I've ever had. I love that it for me as an actor, my own little personal whatever, I get to do all the things that I love to do, and that's essentially not look like me. I know what I look like. I'm not all that impressed with my face. So, from the beard and the tattoos and the wig and the whole 9 yards, it's just a great part to play. The bad guy that's not necessarily bad is just always, it's a kind of an iconic character. So I came on as a guest star. I would have been grateful to shoot 1 or 2 days, and to think I've been doing this ride now for going on into our 5th year. Well, I forget, provided we're picked up, but I've completed 4 seasons. There's not a happier actor on the planet. I've often thought to myself, I have the best part on the best show on television right now, and I would not trade it for anything.
Hey, my favorite part about the show, I think, would be the intelligence of the aliens. I think my first really favorite storyline was when Red Eye came in, and when he started organizing skitters. I thought that was just the coolest thing. And then when Cochise came in, and he's a similar intelligence, much different.
Were we supposed to talk about the show or our characters?
Both?
Was I
bit
supposed to
of
talk about the
both,
show? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
apologizing.
no. I have. But that's probably my favorite. I think that's incredibly intriguing, that they could turn against their leaders, and even Cochise, turning against his culture's traditions and all of that. And with my character, Lourdes has been very transformative through the seasons. She's been very faithful. She's been very professional. She's been very evil, and so it's been really cool to come at each season with a new spirit. It's been good for me.
The show's been, especially since season 2, it's been challenging and interesting because most people who know me will say that I'm remarkably ungraceful, and
You mean in person?
as a person, and as a personality, perhaps. But since in season 1, I was a civilian. I was back at base camp, and I would have conversations with people in rooms, and I was very comfortable with that. And then in season 2 and on, they use this sci-fi thing with the spikes and the fact that we're all soldiers in wars now to turn me into a type of action hero, I guess. Suddenly I was jumping out of windows.
That was wicked.
Yeah.
Stabbing skitters in the mouth, and this just snowballed and escalated, and suddenly I was now jumping off cliffs instead of windows, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and so it's been a continuous challenge, but it's also it's the only thing like this I've ever done, and who knows, it might be the only thing like this I ever do, so it certainly keeps it exciting, and as an actor it helps immensely because you watch these action movies and you think, oh, I could do that, that's not that bad, but you realize how unbelievably hard it is, not only to do what you have to do and not die, but to also stay in character or deliver lines or make it, sell it. It's not just like you're doing it at a theme park and you have to land it, you have to sell it. That, it's been hard, but it's been exciting.
And all that under a time constraint, because I was going to say that
Yeah, exactly.
the physical side of things is what I love as well, the action. I didn't know how to ride a dirt bike beforehand. Second time ever on a dirt bike, I'm cruising through 100 extras. Didn't know how to ride a horse.
Wow.
third time I was on a horse galloping around with all these
Well, that's the
extras
thing, is
and
like, we
things.
get, our job is to do things that other people would pay to do. Like, we get
Yeah.
to go on these crazy rigs and ride horses and dirt bikes. Like, we get to do the craziest stuff as part of our job. It's,
Our sets are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anybody that works in the business with me, who visits our sets, is just blown away.
Brad Gray.
We've been,
Rob Gray.
Yeah, Rob.
we've been incredibly
Love Rob
lucky
Gray.
to just get to walk onto these sets, and you're in a whole different world. So, we're used to being in an audition room about the size of this room right here with white walls, and you're having to imagine everything. So when you have that world put in front of you, and you've got Doug Jones who plays Cochise that actually looks like an alien. I mean, it's it's a pretty special situation, and that's not to mention just on a personal level, getting to work with actors who have been in the business for as long as Noah and Will and Moon, and the things you pick up from them, just from a trade point of view, has been an incredible journey. Having to be in front of the camera as often as we are only helps you learn more about what you are trying to do.
For me, the most amazing thing was the transformation of like when I got offered the job and I went in and what they did with me. I mean, I think I was in hair and makeup for longer than anybody, an hour and a half. They
Took that long to make her ugly because
to
it's so
make-
hard. How are we gonna do this?
I know. I mean, they bleached out my eyebrows. They gave me freckles, blood capillaries,
Your
brown.
teeth.
Well, that was my
Teeth,
idea.
That was my favorite
Great.
part. It was
They
disgusting.
kind of did it a little, and I'm like, okay, if we're gonna do this, just go all out, just make them rotten, And what was so fun about it is that a lot of times you kind of you're conscious of the camera and like what angle's gonna kind of look good or whatever. I mean, I could just go all out ugly and make the like ugliest faces and do the. It was so freeing as an actress. And I love playing those kind of character roles, so that was really cool. And just being a warrior, and like you said, like I got to learn how to ride a bike, shoot guns. It was amazing experience.
Just like a real soldier in a real war.
Yeah. And I'd forget sometimes. I would forget that I looked like that and my teeth looked so rotten. And like, so I'd be talking to people at lunchtime, like, yeah, laughing. It was just like.
We'd have a lot of we'll call them extracurricular parties where people would gather from the crew and whatnot, and you would show up and nobody would
recognize me. I went to the first Christmas party that we had, and I went in, and I was kind of new. I'd only been on the show for 2 months or something, but everybody had always seen me as Crazy Lee. So I show up, and nobody's talking to me, and I'm like, oh my God, nobody likes me. I went to the bar, and I'm like, hey guys, and it was just like, hey, thinking I'm a fan or something. And then finally I got in the car, because I was gonna leave. I'm like, everybody hates me on the show. Nobody likes me. Oh my God, I want to die. And then I got in the car, and as I was leaving, the DP was like, Luciana? Crazy Lee? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, nobody knew you were here. So I realized that nobody really recognized. I think it was you, only you.
I recognize you.
You recognized me.
I got you.
Good question.
But it was fun.
That was either a really cute story or a really good cover from your DP. It's like, oh no, we didn't know it was you. That was using his head. I guess, talking about using your head, obviously, we've seen a lot of films and TV series that deal with the concept of alien invasion and all of this kind of stuff before, but what do you think it is about this 4-season journey that you guys have been on that's kind of set it apart? What distinguishes the show from other films in the genre, other TV shows in the genre even?
I guess you could take that question and make it into something big or whatnot, but I think it just boils down to the chemistry of who we are as a cast. I think we all were incredibly lucky that just from the pilot, from the first episode, with Noah playing our father, he sort of took on somewhat of a fatherly figure, and then we sort of would play into that, and then we all got along so well. I mean, we're here in London right now, and we all go out. We were out yesterday, we'll go out tonight. We've all gotten together and really gotten along really well. So I'd say that's an aspect of it, on top of, I really think that because we've changed our writing staff so often, that's made it interesting too. That it's hard to guess where it's going to go, which, like we were saying earlier, can be difficult because you want that control of feeling like, okay, I know where my character's going. But I think it's better when it's left up to a whole new group of people to come in and put their stamp on it, but still pay respect to where we've been. that's I really enjoy when we get a new writing staff.
We also
Scary,
have a
but
different,
it's-
as far as differentiating us from other alien invasion shows, from the very get-go, we have a slightly different concept, which is that most, at least from my experience, most alien invasion movies or shows focus on the invasion, and right off the bat, we start 6 months after in our pilot. So the focus has always been different. I guess there's similar themes and tones, but the ramifications of that original decision have impacted our show for its entire run.
I think this season is really interesting too because we get separated right at the beginning and we have these very, very different storylines, and one of them's reminiscent of like Holocaust kind of, reform schools. One of them's very reminiscent of the ghettos, and people in entrapment. One of them's very, very free in this like creepy, like happy way that's magical and weird.
Cultish kind of quality going on.
Yeah, cultish, and there's just all these different, drastically different environments this season. That's really cool, and the way that they intersect.
It was a weird season because we're very used. We've been on the show for a while and it's had a consistent look for most of its run. Like we've been very used to waking up every day and going to lumber mills and abandoned factories and like that's there's a gray color scheme that we're very used to that environment. And this year, like Shell said, we got split up, and some of the groups were in environments that looked like that, but a couple of us weren't. We were in these colorful places or
People's
these
temple kind of
these
weirdness
completely,
going on, yeah. Really neat.
alternately designed locations that really it almost felt like a different show.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was interesting.
And in terms of where we are now, I guess my final question, looking to the future, it would be really interesting to hear for each of you what you'd most like to see, not just from the series overall, because obviously, like you say, it's kind of going in a lot of different directions and taking chances, but specifically for your character, if there's any territory that you haven't explored yet that you'd really like to, I guess. Starting with the handsome man again.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think for Pope, it'd be, I think they were going in a direction for a while, and the nice thing is that the stories take time to unfold, but to really have Pope be, perhaps get even bigger, become a bigger problem for Mason, and all that kind of stuff, and really give Pope a real significant measure of power that, to be the bad guy, be a bit of a bad guy. It's good to have a bad guy in a show. So as much as just, if anything, as a conflict for the Noah Wiley character, for the Mason character, he's got enough stuff going on, and yet within your own ranks, there's that other kind of conflict. So I don't know, just for Pope to continue as he was doing. This year he was kind of stripped away of a lot of his power and stuff like that, which is really interesting. So I'd like to see him rebuild a little bit.
Yeah. Lourdes, we got asked this question earlier, and I just simply kind of want her to be happy. As I don't want the ease of that, but to just kind of fall into herself and not be afraid to mask that with any certain religion or job or whatever, but just really kind of show who she is.
I think like Drew was saying, there's something fun about this season in that we got to work with, a lot of us got to work with actors and with characters that we hadn't really interacted with before, because most of us are used to a relatively small circle. With me, it's always been my family members. And this year I got to expand outside that a little bit. So in the future there's 100 plots that could happen and they're all equally exciting to me. But if I can get the chance to work with some of the other casts that I haven't really spent much time with in the show, that would be, anything that would cause that would be ideal. That would be fun.
I'd love to see Hal hop on one of the beamers and go off with the aliens in space and then have his own spin-off.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We'd all love to see that. That was a joke. Well, what happens this fourth season? It's especially the second half of this season. It's a very transformative year for Hal. So I'm really excited as to where it could go in the fifth season, and it's hard for me to sort of talk about what direction that would be without giving things away. But I'm about as excited for the next season as I was at the end of, what was that, the second season when Hal was going through what ended up being the evil Hal side of things. Because it was obviously setting up for something that was so different than what Hal usually is. And I feel like something's not like that, but in a way that it's a whole another side of Hal that we could possibly see next season. That I'm just going to put my hands up and let the writers take it wherever they're going to take it.
Luciana, where would you like to see your character?
Well, I'd like to see my character somehow come back alive. But where I would have liked to see her go, I would have loved to. I mean, I had my own backstory as to why she was the way she was and why she let herself go like that. And I would have loved to see what the writers would have come up with as to why, because I feel like Crazy Lee didn't have a youth, and that's my story, is that she never had a youth. And I got that from the last episode when I passed, how, you know, that line when she said, "I want to go to Disneyland when I get out of here," and that kind of made me understand her a little more. But then I died, so it couldn't go anywhere further. But I would have loved to see the vulnerable side of Crazy Lee more, and just what her backstory was, and you know how she turned out to be the way that she was.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for watching. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the link on the screen now.